The smell of sulphur. Don't throw your inkpot at the devil, as Martin Luther did in a moment of ill-considered fury. He has come to help you with the manuscript. Perhaps you thought it was only the wind rustling the pages. It was, in fact, the prince of literary critics. It was no accident that a few of your notes just now were blown by a chill gust into the open fire beyond the hearth, or that they burned with a brilliant flash of red and yellow. The diabolical censor who edits the second most famous index was offering you a pre-publication warning. The devil, being a creative fellow, is fascinated by the arts. He haunts cafes and garrets, piles the saucers high at the rotund and the dome. He is often to be seen in Grub Street, Bloomsbury, or in New York's Greenwich Village, listening with a sly leer to lyric poets, reciting their verses with rapt ecstasy. He is less interested in the poet's couplets, variations of which he has heard since the days of the minor Elizabethans, than in the soul of the artist, the disgruntled, aching, and unfulfilled soul, almost ripe for the satanic contract. In this introductory section, called The Smell of Sulphur, Max Beerbohm has captured for all time, as an insect in amber, the fatal flaw in character which leads the artist to sell his soul. He knows with William Makepeace, Thackeray, and Anatole France that not a living artist can resist the devil's tempting offer of fame and recognition. He is well aware that the devil's nimble fingers can make a canvas gleam with strange luminosity, can run a devil's trill on the violin, as he did for Giuseppe Tartini of 1713 of the Common Era, can hypnotize a critical world. Can charm the savage beast and bolster the waning bank account. What artist would refuse to pay his Pied Piper his pittance? All that he asks is eternal keeping of the artist's already tortured soul. That the devil has always been an accomplished musician is once again proven by Oscar Mann in his haunting story, The Devil in a Nunnery. Here we have no Balzacian droll story, no cynical and satirical account of monkish immorality and naughty nuns, but rather the sweet confusion which the devil's music inspires in the breasts of women, who might have walked the earth in spring with mortal lovers, but who instead have chosen the veil. Certainly, the evil one is doubly fascinated by his assignment in such a story. He has an audience for his recital, and that audience is composed of the saint-like ascetics who have always challenged his power. It is curious to discover how often this fallen angel seeks the association of hermits and friars, nuns and mothers superior, often at the very moment when they are counting their beads. There is always the possibility of the devil inspiring these accounts of his audacity. To further confound an already agnostic world, certainly he guided the hand of Baudelaire, in the Litanies of Satan, as well as in most of his other poems and stories, undoubtedly when definitive criticism of the decadent movement, Volume 7, comes fresh off the presses of Hell, we will learn that Satan first introduced Poe's work to Baudelaire, who in turn may have inspired Huysmans to write Le Bas, thus captivating the sultry imaginations of Oscar Wilde, Aubrey Beardsley, and the Yellow Book boys. How much simpler literary criticism becomes when we learn the secret of going to our satanic sources. Of the Basque legend in this volume, we can only say that Spanish devils before El Greco and Goya were strangely lacking in cultural attributes, filled with fear and superstition, and capable of being tricked by wife, mother-in-law, or mere apothecary. But Spain has always been a backward country. Bret Harte, far from dissolute European sources, still saw the devil as an artist with fly rod and cunningly tied blurs, while John Coiler, whose own imagination is strangely diabolical, makes Beelzy the very antithesis of stolid Philistia. The moral of this satanic sampler is simple to unravel. Taking the modern view, it is obvious that Satan is in league with creative mankind, even anthologists. Now, they were entering into an age where people could become more and more open about their satanic leanings. The Yazidi, in the reference to Shah Etan, and basically the jinn, the Yazata as Yazatas, was not so easy to put together. But we see in this introduction the idea of that things being done for or things not being done for. And if things are being done or not done, the insertion of the relationship with these beings is the sort of thing that they're coming about. Like Muhammad had to deal with that, is that there were poets and tale tellers that would use it in, as a contrary or a distraction from religion sort of thing. And isn't that where it starts? Is they remove the spiritual value of something, and then they can start to weave in certain moral things. But because obviously pairing, not just bouncing around, but pairing up for your own financial and other security would be something that would tend to come about readily.